Now let's take a look at insertion sort, a sorting algorithm that is very simple to explain, but it has a higher complexity than others. It's an iterative algorithm, so we can use what we've already learned about iterative algorithms and apply it here. So insertion sort works by simulating that you're adding elements into a vector. So imagine you started with an empty vector. If you add a new element, you already know where to put it. But if you add a second element, you would need to compare whether it's going in front of or after that element. So for example, if I add 5, it would be after. And then I can keep adding elements and I can look for the position that they should go. And this gives me a sorted vector. If our vector started with elements but unsorted, for example, I had 2, 3, 1, this algorithm would pick the first unsorted element and move it to the left as much as required until it's sorted. In this case, this is the first element, thus it's already sorted, and then we would focus on the next element, which would be 3. In this case, we still don't have to move it, and it's also already sorted. I'm going to separate here the sorted and the unsorted sides of the vector. And finally, with number 1, it would need to perform several operations, first to move it to the left, and then to move it to the left again until it reaches the correct position. And this is how insertion sort would sort a 3-element vector. Let's take a look at the implementation in Python. So first we iterate through the whole vector. Let's write here a complex vector 3, 2, 1, 5, 4. Okay, and let's imagine we're midway through the algorithm. We've taken a few steps, and now the vector is looking something like 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. And this is the segment that's still unsorted. So in every iteration, we pick the index that we're interested in. In this case, we're going to pick index number 4. This would be index 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get the value. So this value would be 4. Then we use a secondary loop to search for the correct position where we should put this value. So now I'm going to represent the list again, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4, with their indices 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to start by using the current index as the position. So this would be index 4. And while we're above position 0 and our items are unsorted, so we're going to check whether this holds, then we should swap the elements. In this case, we're going to be moving this 5 to the left. So I'm going to draw a number 5 in here. And because we're storing the value here, we don't need to copy it over to position 3. Then we perform the same comparison. We say, okay, is 3 greater than 4? And in this case, it isn't. And thus this loop ends. And we go to the end here where it says the vector of the position, and position is 2 right now, is equal to the key, and key was 4. So, sorry, vector was 3. This position was 3. And then we delete this number 5 and obtain this number 4. So we are combining both a traversal and a search. We have this, which is a traversal loop, because it always goes all the way to the end. And this is a search looking for the correct position to place an element. Because this is a search, this doesn't always go through the entire list, and thus the complexity of this method may not be as straightforward as you think. So let's think about the complexity itself. So first, the size. If we have a 5-element array, the size is mostly going to be the length of the list to be sorted, and we can choose the comparison here this comparison would be the one that happens the most times, because these ones may also happen, but they may not, as this loop may end up early. So in the best case, everything is already sorted. So we go through we have the external loop and the internal loop. We go through the search, through the traversal loop, but do not enter the search loop. And thus we execute this condition in the search loop n times. Thus, the best case is that it's linear. Otherwise, in the worst case, we might have a list that is sorted in the exact reverse order. Then we need to traverse the list once, and then for each element, we need to move them all the way back, moving every element n times in average. So if we represent this would be the inner traversal with the search, going from position 0 to I, and then it goes from position I to n-1. If we apply both equations, the first one gives us an I, and the second one, because we're using the I, would use the equation n times n plus 1 divided by 2, and we would reach the n squared result. And thus, this algorithm, which uses two loops, even though this loop doesn't always finish through its iteration, in the worst case, which is the inverted list, performs on the order of n squared operations.